Hey dude, welcome back to another one of my videos. So for this build, I was starting out with this base that I wanted to use for him, and I got out some of this wire and made sort of a shape of a man, and then put some aluminum foil around that and bulked it out. And I also gave that an outer layer of clay, and tried to smooth some of it out. And I wanted this weird mutated thing or whatever to have large muscles, so I started working on that. I use two different types of clay. I use just kind of normal, cheap polymer clay, and I think it's called Super Sculpey. It's more of an expensive but more firm and easy to work with clay. And then I was working on some tentacles for his hands, and some of these weird little stalk things, and I baked those. And I was also working on his feet. I used this semicircle for his one large eyeball, which was not clay. I think it's like a resin or plastic or something. And I wrapped some clay around it. And here I'm working on a different workstation, but I baked those tentacles and glued them on after I'd baked him as well. I also added these little wire things for the inside, as he's supposed to be robotic on the inside. And I blended on the feet, which had been baked as well. I also drilled a small hole in his eye, and then a larger one after that, which was shallower, which assisted in the painting process. And here I was working on his base. I cut out the oval shape, or a similar shape, to the base. Added this little grate thing. And carved out what was supposed to look like metal plates on the foam. I think it's called EVA foam. I also used a 1mm hole puncher and punched out some little plastic circles and used those as rivets. I also used some actual wires and to look like, well, wires. And I also gave the top of the base a base coat of black. I gave him a sort of light skin tone base coat. I also then gave the base a light coat of a metallic metal color. And then I gave him a sort of wash of brown, which made for a nice dirty skin tone look. And I painted some little blisters on him, yellow. The kind of idea behind this guy is he's a robot on the inside. He was manufactured in an underground facility on my made-up planet called Rejection, which I kind of explained on my first video, but essentially it's a fake planet that has lots of junk on it from Earth. But they were working on an underground facility on Rejection, and they were building these robots that were susceptible to other types of brains. So if, say, your sheepdog dies, you can use the sheepdog's brain, put it in a robot, and you wouldn't have to train another sheepdog. But on the first prototype, something went wrong, and they all had to leave the building. Pretty soon the building was forgotten about, and the brain in the first prototype started to mold, and it started to grow its own skin. Now, how it grew a similar muscular structure to a human and shorts, I'm not really sure, but now he's supposed to be wandering around in that underground facility, trapped. And now people don't want to go down there because of him. And there he is. And I think that could be a build completed.